All right. So, what are the benefits and drawbacks of traveling by trains?
So I think that there are plenty of the drawbacks and the benefits of travel by trains, but I think I would just mention some of the things that is more like mostly is about the cost of the train. It is really like budget friendly to people for to travel a far distance away, and moreover is they have enough facilities for them to eat and for them to sleep on the train while they're traveling with affordable price. They can have enough that service, so that is really budget friendly. But about the drawbacks, I think is mostly about the noise and also the air pollution that the train just released. There are the gases and the carbon footprint comes from the release gas from the trains, and moreover, I think is about uh, like uh, it just made a lot of noise while they are going on track. So it caused air and the noise pollution. That is, I think, is the main drawbacks of it. What modes of transport are commonly used in your city? Which do you think are the most efficient?
Mm, well, in my city, Hanoi, it's mainly dominated by scooters, or you might know it as well motorcycles, but well, from my knowledge, a lot of people call them scooters. So well, pretty much they are a two-wheeled they are two-wheel vehicle individuals vehicle that uh usually can usually have about like two seat, right, and you can spot them in almost every corner of Hanoi, from the heart of the cities to the more like tranquil areas of Hanoi, right? So they're very popular. Another form of transportation that is also very prevalent is going by bus and taxis, right? They are well they are relatively cheap. However, I have seen less people use especially bus and train in the modern day because of the rise of uh, mm, online taxi and other delivers other like uh, services. For example, Grab taxi, right? They're a lot more ubiquitous than the traditional bus, for example, or even the traditional taxi. So overall, I would say that the most efficient one is perhaps the scooters, because they are versatile. From what from what I know, you can use them as well a normal vehicle that serve its purpose to transport people from one place to another, and in addition, it's very cheap to maintain, and a lot of them have a very longevity. So yeah, I would say scooters. Uh, are there any subways or train stations in your country?
So I think there are plenty of the stations, like the train station in the country. Like to be mentioned, I think the Hanoi gas station is the most like iconic one. Um, and there are a new one that was built uh, in last year, I think so. That is a highway of the like the subway for people to travel. So in my like, I think in the future, the governments will build more subways to just help people with the traveling. Just as some of the modern and developed country in Asia, such as Asia, such as Japan and China. The subways and also the transportation is really modern, and it is really essential and useful for the citizens to use, and just going around in a short period of time. So, in my own opinion, I think that the governments will try the best to solve this problem and also make some new things to just improve the subways and also the station for the train. Why should students wear uniform?
Alright, so well, I think when uniform has several positive uh, aspect to it, right? So the first of all, of course, is to identify a students. So I mean that's almost the whole point of a uniform, right? Is to distinguish a member from a particular institution or school from another, and it's create a uniformity. A something that everyone uh, in an academic environment share in common, right? And furthermore, I believe that it's also for their safety to an extent, especially like during excursion, for example. Maybe student can may student might be lost, for example, and so their uniform can help to identify themselves as a member of a school, and also to deter strangers and would be criminal from entering the school, as they are of course distinguished by the lack of uniform. So yeah, that's some of the reason I think uh, students wear uniform. So should they have dress down day?
In my own perspective, I think that it should not be used a day like that uh, like, because there are plenty of things to just think of when they have a dress down day. They care about their look and they just um, prepare for the clothes that they need to wear, and that is just something that can distract them from their work. In a normal days, they just need to wear the uniform that corrects that day, and they just care of the studies and the weights. But when they have the day that they can freely wear that they want, they want to share their own personalities, or they need to look really good at that time. So that is something that can distract them from the work. That is why I think it should not be a day like that. The next question is: do you think people wear what they like, or people wear what are advertised?
Right. So this is a pretty situational questions, because I believe it's largely uh, due to personal preferences. However, I do firmly agree with the fact that people are more inclined to purchase and use products that they are frequently exposed to, right? So for instance, popular brand like Adidas, H&M, for example, are a lot more ubiquitous among people in all age group, whereas like a more local brand, something that is less well known, would of course see a less pool of customers. However, it's also depends on a lot on a person preferences. Some may like a more baggy, oversized clothing, to appear, more stylish, more exaggerate, while others prefer something that is tighter, that show their body positivity, for example, really highlight their shape. And some like to wear formal clothing, things that really bring out the type of, well, uh, a certain feelings like classiness, for example, or dressing smart. So it's I think it's a combination of both, right? Well, people of course they have their own styles and uh, their choice when buying clothes. They are also heavily um, rely not really but like depends on the name of certain brand. Some people want to chase the newest trend, and many people don't have the information on is not aware of other brands that exist, and only know there's a surface brand that have a good advertisement, for example. So yeah, it depends a lot, really. So should students bring their own lunch to school to reduce food waste?
I think it is an essential way to uh, reduce the waste of food by bringing their own lunch at school. I think the main reasons why they are the waste of the food is uh, is that they don't like the food at school. That is not their cup of tea. So I think that they just throw all of it and they donate it at school. So as a result, I think that the students should bring what they want to school and they prepare for it. So that is something that they need to put passion in. They will eat all of it, and then the waste of the food will reduce. That is why I think it is really essential for them to just try that new things to just bring their own food to school and reduce it. What are the things you want to change about the school policy?
Mm, well, if you ask me, the I have actually some well opinion on the certain school policy rules. Right. The first of all is about leisure activities. So unlike a vast majority of school, in my school it is uh yeah it is students are prohibited. The student cannot play any form of card games and I mean board game in general. So uh, for example, the very famous Uno card, for examples, poker's card, of course, and even Monopoly is illegal in my school. And in my opinion, it's and even werewolf. So in my opinion, it's really weird and well over exaggerate in how that rule uh, in the rule because they are more or less harmless in general, especially like some of the fields that I have mentioned. The primary explanation that the school have is that we students might uh, participate and organize gambling event. However, that is highly unlikely in uh, my school environment. So it's never really. I have never been really on the same page as the as my teachers. So what I would want to do is of course allow uh, students to participate in these board games, and probably the only exception is being the poker cards because they are some of the only type of games that can effectively gambling on. Uh, so my idea is that students can students are allowed to play these games during their free time. So it's strengthen bond between peers and also foster creativities and uh, cooperation amongst students, which, in my opinion, is a positive development to the class and the school overall. So, should the practice speaking homework be shown in class?
So I think that that is not a good thing to show it on the class because the main problem here is some students they choose the way to do that homework is to avoid the looking of the people and the fellow students. So teachers should just do a public presentation at school, or they do a private like video recording speaking at home. So they should watch it alone and not share it with the students. That will cause to a depression or like traumatized for the students. They who are really like shy and they will think that it is something that embarrassing them. In my own opinion, I think it is something that is should not be done in this like a class, and that is something that can cause to bad effects on the mental health of the students.